There are over 4,000 potato varieties in the world, and some of them are so bizarre you would swear they came from another planet. Let us start with the one French royalty actually wore on their heads before anyone would eat it: vitelotte. Vitelotte is an almost black, knobbly, finger-shaped potato from France with flesh so dark purple it seems dyed. And the kicker is that color is completely natural. This thing resembles a truffle or a weird swamp root more than anything you would actually eat, which is exactly why the French nickname it truffe de Chine, meaning Chinese truffle. Despite that name, there is zero Chinese connection. Vitelotte comes from Peru, traveled to Europe with Spanish conquistadors in the 1500s, and has been cultivated in France since the early 1800s. French potatoes were so unpopular in the 1700s that botanist Antoine-Augustin Parmentier needed Louis XVI himself to help promote them, and the king went full drama mode. Louis XVI started wearing potato flowers on his coat during public appearances. Marie Antoinette wore potato flowers in her hair at royal balls. That bizarre PR stunt basically tricked the French aristocracy into thinking potatoes were fashionable, and vitelotte rode that wave straight into elite kitchens across Paris. The name itself has a strange origin. Vitelotte likely comes from an old French word vite, a crude 13th century slang term for male anatomy, combined with a cute diminutive suffix. So France's fanciest gourmet potato has a name that started as a dirty joke from the 1200s. What gives vitelotte that almost black color is anthocyanin, the same pigment that makes blueberries blue and red cabbage red. Its flesh is dense and turns floury once cooked, with a nutty chestnut taste completely different from any regular potato, and that deep purple color survives cooking without fading. Vitelotte plants produce only 5 to 10 tubers each and take far longer to mature than commercial varieties, which is why this spud nearly went extinct in the mid-20th century. Top chefs brought it back because of how dramatic it looks on a plate. Best way to eat one is roasted whole with the skin on, or turned into purple chips that make every other crisp on the table look boring. And if vitelotte is the most mysterious potato in Europe, wait until you see what Peru has been quietly growing for 8,000 years. Peruvian purple. Peru has over 4,000 native potato varieties, and Papa purpura, better known as Peruvian purple, is called the jewel of the Andes. Outside is deep violet, inside is striking yellow, and once cooked, the flesh shifts to a slight blue tint. This potato grows above 4,100 meters in conditions that would kill almost any other crop, and Inca royalty treated it like gold. Regular Inca citizens were not even allowed to eat it. Potatoes in general started near Lake Titicaca about 10,000 years ago, and Inca engineers invented freeze-dried chuño by leaving tubers out overnight to freeze in the Andean cold, then stomping them to squeeze out water, creating a food that's stored for up to 15 years without spoiling. That technology predates modern freeze-drying by centuries. Papa purpura tastes slightly buttery and earthy, and the best way to eat one is roasted with the skin on to keep that royal color, or sliced thin into jewel-toned chips. At the International Potato Center in Lima, there is a secure vault storing thousands of native seed varieties just in case the world ever needs to rebuild its food supply from scratch. So Peru has basically won the potato world, but the weirdest looking tuber on this list was discovered by accident in Alaska: Magic Molly. Magic Molly has dark purple skin so deep it looks completely black, and when you slice one open, it bleeds violet liquid onto the cutting board. Not a metaphor. The flesh emits an actual purple liquid when cut, and that color stays dark purple all the way through, even after boiling. Bill Campbell, a potato disease control specialist at the state-run Plant Materials Center near Palmer, Alaska, discovered this variety in 2007 as a natural mutation of the red beauty potato, and he named it after his daughter. Magic Molly tubers range from 5 to 15 centimeters long. Younger ones taste sweeter, and larger, mature ones go deeper and earthier. The texture is waxy and creamy once cooked, with low starch and high moisture content. Hudson Valley Seed Company reports that Magic Molly contains more phytonutrients, anthocyanins, and antioxidants than spinach and broccoli combined, which is genuinely absurd for a potato. The color holds completely during boiling, making it one of the only dark pigmented varieties that stays dramatic through the full cooking process. Best preparation is roasting. Earthy flavor deepens into something genuinely complex, or boiling whole and slicing into a salad where that violet color makes every other ingredient around it look completely ordinary. The fact that a disease control scientist in Alaska accidentally created one of the most visually dramatic potatoes on the planet while working on blight resistance is the kind of story that never gets told enough. But if Magic Molly is bizarre for being an Alaskan accident, the next one is bizarre because it costs more per pound than Wagyu beef. Bonnotte de Noirmoutier. La Bonnotte grows on a small island off the west coast of France called Ile de Noirmoutier, and it sells for around $215 to $270 US per pound. The potato itself looks unremarkable, small, round, yellow, but the taste is completely otherworldly, lemony and mineral, with a salty sea aftertaste and a walnut finish. As if the ocean got compressed into a spud. The reason it tastes like the sea is that it literally grows in it. The soil on Noirmoutier is sandy and fertilized with seaweed and algae, and the island's microclimate wraps every growing tuber in briny ocean air. Planted by hand every February 2nd, tubers are harvested 90 days later, during a single week in May, and everyone is picked individually because the skin is so delicate that machine harvesting destroys it. Around 2,500 potato pickers gather at dawn during that 1 week and work until sunset to pull the entire annual crop off the ground. Total production is only around 80 to 100 tons per year. The variety nearly went extinct in the 1960s when mechanization arrived and farmers abandoned it as too slow to be profitable. French agricultural scientists at INRAE recreated it from preserved samples in the 1990s, and when the first hand-harvested crop of 5 kilograms returned to market in 1996, it sold at the Drut Art Auction House in Paris for 2,300 euros, alongside Petrosian caviar. The world's most expensive potato sold at an art auction. You cannot make that up. Best way to eat one is steamed with the skin on, or simply browned in butter, because doing anything complicated to a potato that expensive would be a crime. Pink fir apple. Pink fir apple is the potato that should honestly be illegal to sell at a supermarket. Long, narrow, knobbly, shaped like pink fingers covered in lumps and ridges, it resembles something washed up from a swamp. First imported to the UK from France in 1850, this Victorian-era heirloom is so bumpy that peeling one is basically impossible. And in the 1800s, commercial sellers struggled with it because machines could not handle the shape. The knobbly surface comes from inconsistent watering during growth, and pink fir apple nearly disappeared for decades until Sainsbury's crossed it with the Desiree variety in 1996 to create the Anya potato, bringing fingerlings back into British kitchens. The flavor is deeply nutty and earthy with buttery undertones, almost hazelnut-like, which you basically never get from a regular potato. Famous French chef Joël Robuchon recommended it in his 1994 book on potato cookery. Flesh is firm, yellow, and waxy, and because the shape is impossible to peel, you always eat it with the skin on. Best preparation is boiled or steamed and served warm in a salad with herbs and vinaigrette, or roasted whole with rosemary and sea salt. Adirondack Blue. Adirondack Blue has deep blue skin and vibrant blue-purple flesh throughout, and unlike most colorful potatoes, it keeps that color completely intact after cooking. Bite into one, and it looks like food from a cartoon. Cornell University breeders Robert Plaisted, Ken Paddock, and Walter de Jong released Adirondack Blue in 2003, bred from a cross of 2 research cultivars called NY96 and N40-1. Every tuber contains up to 24 milligrams of anthocyanin per 100 grams, up to 20 times more than standard yellow or white potatoes. Those antioxidants are linked to better eye health, lower blood pressure, and reduced oxidative stress. Flavor is mild and earthy with subtle nutty sweetness, and texture is firm like a Yukon Gold once cooked. Penn State's Alumni Association markets Adirondack Blue chips in their school colors as official merchandise, which is the most American thing ever done with a vegetable. Skin stays blue even after full cooking, making this variety ideal for dishes where you want a jaw-dropping visual on the plate. Shetland Black. Shetland Black is an heirloom potato from the remote Shetland Islands north of Scotland, and the outside is so dark purple, it appears completely black. Cut one open, and you get a genuine shock. The flesh is pale with a single perfectly formed purple ring running through the center like a bullseye. And that ring is completely natural, not bred or altered in any way. Shetland Black is one of the oldest heirloom varieties in all of Britain, unusually hardy, and resistant to the brutal Scottish winds that killed other varieties for centuries. The taste is flowery and slightly dry with a mild earthy flavor overall, but people grow it purely for the visual impact of slicing into that ring. Best preparation is boiling until tender and slicing into rounds to show off the pattern, or making it into a striped potato salad that belongs in an art gallery. Some traditional Shetland recipes mash it with local butter and chives, creating a soft pale pink color where the ring bleeds into the mash. Oca. And finally, the potato that is not technically a potato at all. Oca is a bright-colored tuber native to the high Andes and comes in pink, red, purple, orange, yellow, and white variations all together. Botanically, it belongs to a completely different plant family from standard potatoes, but Peruvians have cultivated it alongside regular potatoes for thousands of years, using it the exact same way. The flavor is sweet, slightly tangy, almost lemony, which is nothing like any potato you have ever eaten, and the texture is crisp when raw, but goes creamy after cooking. Oca contains a natural oxalic acid that gives it that tangy edge, though leaving tubers in sunlight for a few days sweetens them by breaking the acid down, which Andean farmers have known for centuries. Each oca is small, often no bigger than a finger, and those rainbow colors make them resemble a bag of candy spilled across a plate. Some Peruvian growers ferment oca into a sparkling wine sold in Lima's top restaurants. New Zealand farmers grow it under the name yam today, even though it has zero relation to actual yams. Eat oca boiled and dressed with butter and salt, roasted until the sugars caramelize and go deep brown, or raw and sliced into salads where that natural sweetness really comes through. Every one of these potatoes proves that the most bizarre-looking food is usually the most interesting to eat. And if you want every Italian dish explained the same way, that video is on your screen right now.